Welcome to Voices of Homelessness. I'm your host, Donald Whitehead, and the program is produced by the National Coalition for the Homeless in Washington, D.C. The Voices of Homelessness podcast is our effort to bring to you the true picture of homelessness in the United States of America. And we bring to you people who have lived the experience of homelessness in our country. There are many stereotypes and misconceptions around homelessness, why people are there, how they got there, and what happened. But what we try to do, what we attempt to do at every episode, is to show you the real face and voice of homelessness. Today is a really sad day. We just yesterday saw a report from the county of Los Angeles that looked at homelessness and the deaths in the homeless population over the last 4 years. There were 4,988 people who are homeless who died in Los Angeles County. In the richest country in the history of the world, it should not be acceptable. We've seen the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, and its devastation among the homeless population. And our guest today, Mr. Don Gardner, is one of the victims. He had a thriving business. He was working with professional athletes. He was working with businessmen and congressmen in his business. And all that was interrupted by COVID-19. And now Don, after years of advocacy and support and life on life's terms, life that he sustained on his own, has now found himself back in homelessness. And today we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what it was before, how he got there, and what it's like today. So I thank you again for joining us. We thank our production team. And we thank all of those who support the National Coalition for the Homeless. We welcome you to the Voices of Homelessness. Don Gardner, welcome to Voices of Homelessness. How are you today?
Yes, sir, man. I'm grateful and blessed, Don. It's a pleasure to be here and to share my experiences with those who are listening and those who are watching.
So, Don, if you could tell us a little bit about your whole story. I know that it's a long story, so give us the five-minute version of Don Gardner's life. Sure, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, first of all, giving honor to God, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, precious Holy Spirit. Man, before we get started, Don, can we just take a few seconds for those that we've lost and a couple of people right here at the hotel, man. In the hospital, one, he's on the speaker bill. IU went in because he had fluid on his heart and fluid in his leg. He called me about an hour ago. And then my next door neighbor, he had fluid on his heart. So, man, if you will, and those who are present, take a couple of seconds and for those who we've lost during the pandemic and also those who are homeless that we lost and those who are battling homelessness at this time. Thank you so much. My homelessness started at a very young age. My father abandoned us when me and my sister was 2 and I was 3. My mother then remarried when I was 6. And he was abusive. My stepfather was abusive verbally and physically. I found myself being tossed to and fro to my aunts and cousins in different places where we can go. And I realized now, as I've gotten older, that had an effect on me mentally. When I was a kid, it didn't make a difference to me. We go outside and play. We had food. We had clothes, on our back. And, Mama, we would see her from time to time. Mother worked 2 jobs. So until I got counseling and realized that it had an effect on me and still had an effect on me, that's when I began to get help. I've been incarcerated over 10 years. And when I came out of incarceration, I was homeless again. I found myself not going to a halfway house. The district does not have enough halfway houses for those returning citizens, as they call them today. So I found myself sleeping in the park, found myself sleeping in shelters and places of that sort. Did I bring all of this on me? Of course I did. by bad choices and mistakes that I made. Most of all, being disobedient to the word of God, being disobedient to the things that I was brought up and things that I was taught. I was an athlete. I ran track and played football, musician. And it's things I said I would never do, I did. Indulging in drugs and alcohol and sex and different types of music and things of that sort. So with that, I found myself again today homeless. And it's no choice of my own. I had a striving business, as Don mentioned. I worked over 15 years for the national for the national stadium, also FedEx Field football, and also Capital One. In other words, I did the players and coaches' shoes for sports athletes, and the business was beautiful, was good. But when pandemic hit, they closed everything down. And as of today, they have never called us back, Don. They have never called us back into those arenas, into those areas. I had other contracts with Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo. I had 5 law firms. And I found myself, man, where I couldn't pay my bills. I was leasing my car through my business. They came and got that in August, and unemployment hadn't paid me in 6 or 7 months. So I was not able to pay any bills. I was not able to even help those who were around me, especially my mother, who I ended up going there for a while. She ended up going in the hospital for heart congestion. And I found myself, man, very depressed. I found myself distraught. And then I found myself being lost, man. And it took a while. It took 8 to 9 months for me to really gather myself. My ex died of cancer. I lost a sister of cancer and a lot of friends to COVID. So I say that to say to you guys that it takes prayer, it takes faith. It takes faith to be homeless. It takes faith to wake up every morning and wondering where you're going to eat, or, or the elements, where you're going to sleep at. Are my things going to be okay? Is anybody going to steal them? I'm at the shelter. Will I come back? Is anybody going to break in my locker? Is there going to be a problem? Because a lot of things go on in shelters that we don't talk about a lot. But that's not to throw shade at anyone or blame anyone. It's just that we have to do better. I believe that it's going to take all of us to be held accountable for those who can't advocate for themselves. That goes for those who are formerly homeless, those who are homeless and staff, politicians, and so on and so forth. We got to be men and women of our word. The Bible tells us that the word is bond, that a good name is rather be chosen than gold and silver. And I've been knowing Donald for a long time, and he eats and sleep homelessness. And that's what we got to get to, that point where we just don't be, the word tells us to be doers of the word, but not hearers only, deceiving our own selves. And a lot of times we can say a lot of things, but if we don't get up and do nothing, we can pray, we can have faith, but if we don't get up and do nothing, because faith without works is dead.
I want to just dig into, like, you talked about a lot of things. I mean, we could go back to the lack of halfway houses in DC,
Exactly.
or kind of what your journey's been like. Now, the government, now people who hear this, the government's put a lot of money on the table for people like yourself who may have lost their housing as a result of COVID. And how easy has it been to get those funds into your hands to get you back into housing? Has that been an easy process for you
Now,
to
it's
get
been
those things?
very stressful, Donald. Even individuals here that I speak with every day, it's another stress level because housing is a human right. Clothing and shelter is a human right. It shouldn't be a choice. So it's a lot of people, as well as myself, who are on edge, waiting for a voucher, waiting for housing, or waiting for different services, man. Even with the mental health capacity here at the hotel where I'm at, there's not a lot of people who are getting help. I don't know if it's a shortage of psychiatrists and psychologists, but it's not an easy task and has not been easy for me. I've been in and out of this hotel, this particular shelter, since January. And I have heard some news and good news with different housings, but one I turned down because of the conditions that they were sending me in. So I refused it. I don't know if that helped me or hurt me, but I refused to go under those conditions because I know a lot of homeless people that live under those conditions. And I'm talking about asbestos and mold and mildew and rodents and things of that sort. So I turned that particular thing down. So it's been rough, man. It's been
So
tough.
let me stop you there. You were offered a place to live, but it had all of those things you talked about.
Yes, sir. Had all of those things, and thank God that through prayer, and I researched it, and I found out that they had town hall meetings on the 16th of November, and people have been complaining about this particular complex since November 16th. So I was wondering, did anyone in this facility, did anyone check it out? Did anybody research this facility before they start sending individuals there? I know that we're homeless, and I know that people can say, "Well, we are ungrateful. You should take anything that you get," but that's not true. We are human beings, and we deserve the same thing that you live in. We deserve the same type of facilities and cleanliness that you expect. So I don't believe because a person turns it down or a person is homeless that they should accept anything that's handed to them.
I appreciate you saying that because a lot of people come from the mindset that if you're homeless, you should just take whatever's offered. But in your case, you did some research and you found out that what was being offered was substandard, and you advocated on your own behalf. And you did that not worrying about whether it would hurt you or not. It was more important for you to be able to get into a place that offered you the same comfort and safety and hygiene that other people. I appreciate you saying that.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's really interesting. I wanted to ask you about, like, you've been in homelessness a couple of times. You know, you talked about it when you were young. So this new model that you're in now, this hotel,
Yes, sir.
if you were going to move forward, right? This is Don Gardner designing what a shelter should look like in the future. Would it be that shelter that you talked about with the lockers that people break in, where 200 people sleep in the same room? Would it be this model right here, or something different? How would you design the next wave of homeless programs, if you will? So tell me about what it's like in that hotel.
The hotel provides us with shelter from the elements. It provides us with counseling and different services, and the food and other needs, other things that we need. And everything is here is clean. I have not seen any rodents, any mold or mildew. And all the rooms are cleaned 2 or 3 times a week. And basically everybody here is very cordial and very polite. So if I had to design, this is the best system I've seen since I've been homeless. And I've been in shelters, I've been outside, I've been incarcerated. This is the best system that you have going. The only knock I have with the hotel is the social distancing, and that's because of the pandemic. We're so close quartered. But then, like, we have a choice. Like I asked the gentleman, I said, would you prefer to be outside, or would you prefer being in a room with someone else? And the answers
So
have been,
you share a room there.
yeah, I share a room with another person, and we have double beds, and we're not social distancing. Who sleeps with a
How
mask?
are you tested pretty often?
We're tested twice a day, which is a good thing.
You're
Which is
tested twice a day.
twice a day. In the morning, you have to check in before noon, and then at night after 6 before 10. So I think that that's a very good process. They have COVID testing as well. As a matter of fact, the day before yesterday, I went down because it's free and took the test. So it's voluntary, and everything here at the hotel, it's nice. This is a place that I would design. I know it's in DC when I would go and bring different items and things to those who are homeless, that the district were buying a lot of hotels, putting people in. Like I said, the only knock is the distancing, and that's only because of COVID. If it wasn't a pandemic, then this would be a ideal situation because it's the social distancing and be vaccinated and things of that sort. But you don't know who's vaccinated, is it's not vaccinated. But what I can say is they keep it under control because they have a COVID unit in the hotel. So if you come up and your temperature is a little high, or you're coughing and you don't look healthy, then you take the COVID test and you're placed in there for quarantine. So this is a beautiful situation. It's a beautiful thing because on the bottom level, Donald, all the service providers are there for you.
Okay. So it's like you have all the services there, Now, like when you need to do paperwork and stuff, is that faster than it was like in the shelter setting?
Much faster
When you
because
need to process stuff?
it's over 300 people here, and we're assigned to case managers. But I've noticed one thing, that all the case managers are available to an individual if he wants help and if he needs help. So with paperwork and the computer and things of that sort, I know for a fact because I put them to the test, Don. I talk to all of them and get their ideas and brainstorm with them as well because I'm an advocate. So this is what I do. So I've been taking notes and surveys and things of that sort, not only from staff but for individuals who live here as well.
Awesome. And you're making your way through the system, but you're also still advocating. You had the opportunity to speak on Capitol Hill
Yes, sir.
with some Congress members. So know you're doing. And one of the things I'll say, Don, because I know you pretty well and I've watched you when you were thriving. I remember you would drop off. Like snacks and crackers and stuff like that
Yes,
to
sir.
give out to people in the community. So
Yes,
you
sir.
were always giving back. So we want to just let you know we appreciate that. I
Thank
know
you.
you're a member of the National Coalition Speakers Bureau,
Yes,
so
sir.
doing some good stuff in the community still. What are your goals? I mean, what do you want to do once you get through this situation? What does Don Gardner want to give to the community in Prince George's County or DC? What do you want to do?
What one thing I want to continue advocating, being a part of this National Coalition for the Homeless, also the Faces of Homelessness and the Speakers Bureau, as well as LEADER, Learn Experience Training Academy, and being an advocate for those who can't advocate for themselves, and always continue giving back. The Lord bless me with a nonprofit, and it's called Real Love Ministries. Love never fails, so I will continue ministering and continue being on that mission as well. I have an invention. I am an inventor that I never had it to get off the ground because when COVID set in, the factory that was going to do my product, they turned their factory into making hand sanitizer and things of that sort. So I wanted to bring that forth. My great great grandfather was an inventor, so I know I have that DNA and that blessing from him as well. I want to continue with that. But the main thing I want to do is put a face on homelessness and put a face on what's going on, and and be an advocate to hold individuals accountable, myself first, and then those who are in charge and those who talk a good game but don't show it. So, like John Lewis said, if you see something, say something, then do something. So that's where I'm at with that today, Don.
One thing I want you to do, I want you to send a message to elected officials, whether they be local, state, or national. If you had the opportunity to have them before you, what is it that you would say to them? What is it that you would tell them is the next direction for ending homelessness? What would you say, Don, to whatever elected official you would want to talk to?
First of all, I would commend them on everything they have done to this point. I will also ask them to listen to those who have experienced homelessness, bring more of us in at the table, boards, meetings, and focus groups and things of that sort. I will also hold and let them know that we're going to hold you accountable by voting for you. We're going to hold you accountable for the things you're going to do. What are you going to do about the people that's homeless in your town, in your city, in your community? So we're going to hold you accountable, and we're going to make sure that everything that you put on paper is going to be done. We're going to walk you through it, and if you need help with it, we're going to give you help. I also believe that the Constitution is old, that it needs to be tweaked, it needs to be rearranged. Some things need to be taken out, and some things need to stay the same. It's a system that we've had put in place for over 400 years. So the system needs to change. And I would commend and I would ask the officials and the ones that would do this to go out and do an urban plunge and stay out with homeless people. Go to the shelters, not just one time thing, but every 2 or 3 months, once or twice a year, and listen to those individuals and take a look. Just like we have disasters, like we had the tornadoes in Kentucky and Illinois and those places, the president went and he reviewed and viewed those places. And we need the same energy for those that are homeless. This is a pandemic. This is something that needs to be taken care of. This is a disaster. So I would ask them to come out and talk with those who are homeless. Go into the shelters, man. Stay outside in a tent. Walk through and get some information and then take action.
Now I want you to talk to people who may currently be going through homelessness. What is it that Don Gardner would say to help those people?
Well, not to be preaching, Don, but prayer first. Then keep your faith and then get up and do something, man. Don't depend on the government. Don't depend on the case manager. Don't depend on daddy, mama, sister, brother. Get up and do something. Take advantage of every opportunity that you have. And there are opportunities out there. The system is not broken all the way. So there are opportunities for you, man. I say continue to stand on what you believe, continue to move forward, and keep the faith, man, and take baby steps. And don't give up. Don't get discouraged. And when you do get discouraged, stand back up. If you fall, stand back up. If you need help, ask for it.
I want to thank Don Gardner for such powerful testimony, and I thank him for being, the man of God that he is, and really appreciate the real profound impact of his story. He's a person who has spent a lot of time working in advocacy, working on changes, and along comes the pandemic, and he's back in the grips of homelessness. And his story is one that I hope all of you can fully grasp. It really tells you that no one is immune from homelessness, no matter how well you're doing, no matter how much faith. Homelessness can come, and you have to be prepared. Don, in this case, was prepared to be able to find resources, but not to totally escape homelessness. So we wish him the best of luck. We'll continue to work with him. He's actually working with HUD to change some of the issues around homelessness for other people. So even in the midst of his issue, he's trying to give back. Um, and we also hope that you will join the National Coalition as we move towards real structural change in homelessness through the Bring America Home Now campaign. And you can go to our website at www.nationalhomeless.org or go to the Bring America Home website at www.bringamericahomenow. Exciting stuff happening. We just signed on John P. Key as the faith-based spokesperson. Our goal is to marry the faith-based community and the provider community so we can really affect change in this country in a way that hasn't been done before, at least when it comes to the issue of homelessness. So we thank you for tuning in. I'm Donald Whitehead. Our producer is Kalita Harris at Reel to Reel Productions. We thank you all. We hope you enjoy the holiday season, and please continue to do what you can to fight homelessness. Whether it's one homeless person at a time, whether it's donating your time, your treasure, whatever you can do to end homelessness, which is unconscionable in the richest country in the history of the world, we hope that you'll do that. Thanks again. And thank you for listening to Voices of Homelessness. Thank you very much.
We're being harassed. We can't be in the parks. We can't be at the bus transit stations. Law enforcement, they're subject to pull up on us and tell us, hey, you can't sit here, you can't stand there, you have to move on.
They took up all the benches in town so that nobody could sit down anywhere.
I done went to jail down here in Raleigh, North Carolina, 4 times since I've been down here.
I don't think it should be a crime for being homeless.
It's more like out of sight, out of mind.
How do you criminalize somebody's situation?
They're called ordinances, but they're usually city laws that make it a crime to sleep in public, to sit in public, to lie down in public, to sleep in a car, to beg for help, to eat sometimes in public. I mean, they just take a variety of different forms.
They was talking about rounding homeless people up and put them in something like a concentration camp.
Our literature says 3.5 million people. If people knew the true number of homeless people, if we documented that true number of homeless people, we don't have the resources to address the problem. And that is a statement directly from an elected official.
Since 1995, the Department of Housing and Urban Development has not given us any money to build housing.
Gentrification is the only housing policy that this city has. Atlanta's housing policy is gentrification. That's it.
I want to do more for myself and getting myself out of this homelessness so I can pay for me a home.
But when you have no address, getting just a decent, regular, scheduled job, virtually impossible.